Well, as we record this in the Bullseye Podcast with UB women's basketball head coach Kristen Sharkey, you have been on the job for about, I think, 32 days. Can you take me through what your first month has been like?
The first month has been a whirlwind.
I bet.
I still feel like my head is spinning, but, we have a team now, which is huge. And, when I got announced, we literally hit the ground running. I lost my voice in the first 2 days just from talking to so many people on the phone. And then before we knew it, we had 1 commit, 2 commit, 8, 9. I think we're up to 13 now. So we got a nice little roster that we put together in those first 32 days. And I'm super thankful that my staff was able to jump on with me in that first month as fast, because I don't think I would have been able to do it without them.
You knew as you were preparing to hopefully get this job, you know that the world you live in now is the first couple of weeks are going to be crazy, and you may have 0 players on your roster like you did. So I know you thought about it and figured out how you were going to do it. I want you to go back and tell me how much you thought of what it would be like was true to what it was like over the first 32 days.
Honestly, the plan I had coming in, I thought I'd have half the team that I had at a certain point. So we have that recruiting shutdown in May. My goal was to have 6 to 8 players signed by then. I was at 11 already. So, in this new era of college basketball with the transfer portal, having 0 is obviously not a good thing, because you want people to stay at a university for 4 years, love it, and have that family for the rest of their lives. But with the portal, it actually gave me a great opportunity to go hand pick the team that I wanted to create. Taking the job, I had a draft board of 12 individuals. I told myself and my staff that if we get these 12, we're in great shape to compete for a championship. We got 11 of those before the shutdown, and we're waiting on a couple more, but we added a few other special ones that weren't even in my view. So we've just been, super blessed and super excited that people are saying yes.
So you go from this amazingly crazy 0 players when you get that job to now having about 13. Give us a sense of what the player acquisition process was like. And what I'm curious about is, what was your selling point to players that were not here, that maybe they knew you, but they didn't necessarily know you as the Buffalo head coach? Like how do you call up a player that's on that list at yours and convince them that this is the place to be?
I think it's just from having the true, genuine love for a university, and this place helped shape me, it helped grow me, it helped me become who I am, and just kind of being able to sell my story and how I was able to become who I was through this game of basketball. And then, having the 2 degrees from here and having all my sisters all across the country and across the world, that I'm able to, show that we still have those connections with people. But the biggest thing was really just selling my vision and where we want to be, right? The WNIT, they won that this year. That is huge. They sold out the arena for the first time in, I think, 4 years, and it was a women's basketball game. Like, that's incredible. So to have that fan base to be able to sell, and then also the past history of us going to the Sweet 16, competing for championships on a yearly basis, and then, getting us back to that NCAA tournament and really just selling that passion of that's where I want to be. And that's where this program's going to be year in and year out. And I think that just that genuine passion and love for where I'm at was able to seal the deal.
Do these players that are tuned into the world of women's college basketball know what this program has been all about, what the history that you just alluded to? Do they know that when the phone call comes from Buffalo, they're like, oh, I know about Buffalo because NCAA, Sweet 16s, WNITs, all that stuff?
A good amount of them did. So I think, having the exposure with the last staff and the last team with the WNI team being one of the last, 4 teams to play that weekend, they were able to see the bullhead. So they knew the name Buffalo when I was making the phone calls. And so my whole thing was just selling what we did in the past, right? Like, what they did was amazing, but getting to a Sweet 16 is where we're trying to go. And we're trying to compete in the NCAA tournament. And that's where my eyes are set. And I think that being able to just talk about that and where we've been and where we want to get back to, I think has really been helpful.
The roster construction is a nice mix of portal transfers, older players, maybe fifth-year players, a bunch of freshmen. You even had a couple of players, Paola Lopez and Anaya Rowe, that were on this team last year. They weren't when you got the job, thus the 0 players, but as it winds up being 2 players. So give me a sense of how you wanted to approach the construction of the roster.
I wanted to recruit length first. So we're going to have about 8 people over 6 feet. Got a 6'5" or a 6'3" kid. And, we're going to play that 1-2-2 zone defense. So, you got to have length for that. And then we want to play fast. So everyone that we got has the ability to get to the rim, shoot the three, and, defend. Defense is going to be our mantra. And I knew that in year 1 we had to just go and make sure we could stop somebody first and foremost. But from a standpoint of transfers, freshmen, getting the players to stay, I wanted to be able to get some freshmen. I think freshmen bring a different set of eyes and a different excitement than the transfers. We have people coming from great situations, horrible situations, people that maybe have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And I think it's going to be really important this summer that we really harness all those energies and get it all on the same page. I think that's going to be my biggest challenge. I don't think it's going to be the basketball piece. It's going to be getting all those young people to understand that, yes, you went through this. Yes, you went through that. But how can we take that experience, learn from it, and then put a killer team together?
Do you have enough time, because you'll have your players back in the summer and there'll be a lot of practices before the season opens in November, to take 13 players, of which maybe 1 or 2 of them have ever been on the court together with each other, and find that team out of all these collections of individual players?
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work off the court, I think, more so than on. They're all basketball players who want to get better. They all want to figure out their careers. They all want to hold a bigger role than they've played in the past. So I think us really just being intentional about getting to know these young people, what makes them tick, who they are. I'm never going to ask them to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So if there's a wall, I'm going to go through it first, and they're going to see that hole's already there, and they're going to plow through it right behind me. So just creating that as fast as we can in the summer is going to be huge. But I think my staff's on board. This athletic department's on board. The culture here already is unmatched. So now I just kind of have to get our team understanding what that looks like as we move forward.
You mentioned the staff. You did not do any of this all by yourself, and you also have already mentioned here that getting that staff early was a key to it. Alan Spaschak, Damon Jones, and, of course, Summer Hemphill. How have you started to blend with them, and what kind of assets are they going to be as you get all this thing moving forward?
I think we're all passionate. We all love the game. We all got into coaching for the right reasons, which was to help young people grow through a game. Right? It's always going to be about the individual player first and then our team after that, and understanding that each one of these people are coming here to us with a different dream and a different goal. And then how do we take all those different dreams and goals and make it into our one huge thing of winning a MAC championship? So they all understand that, and they're all high energy, passionate. You got Damon Jones coming from the WNBA, which is huge. So he's going to bring a player development side of the thing that we honestly, I've never been around somebody who has so much intelligence about just like, okay, this is how we fix this is how we fix that. So he's already in the process of building those individual plans for our players. And then Allison Spaschak, she just knows everybody in the recruiting world. She's got the gift of gab, so she's going to be able to really just be an incredible recruiter for us. And then Summer Hemphill, she comes with the experience of being on that team that went to the Sweet 16. She knows what that felt like. She knows what it looks like. She knows what it takes to get there. So adding her was huge, and because you're just watching her grow and be a coach, and to be able to come back and do this together, I think is pretty cool.
You've been in lots of rooms, locker rooms, and courts with Summer, but as coach, you didn't play with Summer. It was always coach to player. Yep. Now it's coach to coach. Is that a little bit odd? Has that been a little bit fun or different just because it's never been that way for you two guys?
No, because I think I've always been pretty real, and I think I've just always been genuinely who I am, and same with her. So I think for us, it's been really fun. We kind of just look at each other sometimes and laugh, because it's like, wow, we're really back here doing this thing. So, it's just been incredible. The alumni support, she's got her little group chats. They're all like texting about what we're going to do and like how excited they are to come back. And, but yeah, it is kind of sometimes like it's a little funny sometimes. To just be like, look at us.
How much have you, because you've been away from her for a little while and you weren't necessarily there on a day-to-day basis to see her transition from player to coach. So has anything surprised you about where she has already become as a coach? You knew her as a person and a player, but you didn't necessarily know her as a coach.
That's a good point. No, she's been incredible. I mean, I knew that Summer loves Buffalo. She loves this place, and I know that she's a winner. When she obviously won here as a player, but she went to a winning program at Damon, and I have a lot of respect for Coach Banker over there and what she's done. So I know that if Summer could step in the role there for her, then she absolutely could step in this role here for me in Buffalo. So no, nothing's really surprised me because she's always been a really hard worker and someone that when she cares about something, she goes for it. And I know that she cares about this place.
You mentioned you and Summer have those moments where you just kind of look at each other and go, oh, my God, I can't believe we're here doing this. How about just for you? Has there been a time when you walk to the student union or the commons or across campus and you're like, oh, my God, I've done this 100 different times. I can't believe I'm doing it now in the way that I'm doing it?
I think, yes, obviously, like some days I'm like, wow, like this really is happening. But it's been really easy from the recruiting standpoint. So when we're doing all these campus visits, I'm like, oh yeah, like, senior year, you're going to sign these bowls. You sign it at the senior brunch. Like mine's around here on campus somewhere. We haven't found it yet, but just like little things like that, you're like, okay, like this is home and this is cool. And I think I was talking with Sarah. It might've been Sarah. We were talking about it and she's like, how do you feel? I was like, I legit just walked through the door and I have joy. Like, I don't even know what it is. Like, I feel like I'm in the right place. I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be, and everything's been working out the way I envisioned it. So, we just got to keep day by day, put our one foot in front of the other and just be where our feet are and continue to grind it out. But I think, someday I'm like, has it hit me yet? And I'm like,
well, that was what I was going to ask you, because it's amazing that you get to do something that you've dreamed and thought about. Not all of us get that opportunity. Right. Here you are, and I guess my question is, because you've been so busy, have you had a chance to just kind of sit back and go, oh my God, I can't believe that there's a dream that's coming true here for me?
Not really. Nope.
Too busy,
yet.
Right?
I've been too busy, yeah. So I think
will there be that time, do you think, or are you just going to be too busy to reflect?
I think, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely take a moment to really reflect on it. Maybe once my family gets here and we settle in a little bit. But, I'm the kind of person that I just keep going and see what's next. So I'll definitely take a minute to really sit down and, think about how special this is and, figure out what we do next.
All right. Speaking of what's next on the calendar for the couple of months of the summer here for you in this program?
Well, we got our team comes in June 21st. We're going to get going with those 6 weeks of workouts, and then you have your July recruiting period. But right now it's really trying to figure out what the next classes of recruits are going to be, because we are a little bit behind on the 26 class. So really honing in on who those special individuals are going to be that we're going to go get. And then from there, build our 27s, our 28s, and just rock out from there. But I think the biggest thing right now is just, making sure we re-recruit the players that already said yes to us. So really getting to know them, get to know their families, make sure we continue to, reach out on a daily basis and just, see how they're doing and get them excited about stepping on campus June 21st.
You working on the schedule as well? Is that something else that's a summer project?
That's almost done.
Oh,
so
good.
Hopefully in the next couple of weeks here we'll have that solid and got a couple good things going. So
how do you want to schedule? Every coach has some different philosophies: easy, hard, toughen my team up, give my team confidence. What kind of approach, without getting into any specifics, what kind of approach do you want to see on your schedule to get first year off to a good start?
We're definitely going to challenge ourselves. We got a big one that's going to come to Alumni Arena actually. So you guys will see that be announced pretty soon. That's going to be a pretty special environment when we announce that team that's coming in. And then I want to be challenged. I don't think that we're going to prepare to win a championship if we don't play teams of our caliber. I think that I want to get down into March prepared to win game after game after game after game after game if I can. So I don't think that you necessarily build confidence by playing teams that aren't of your level. Yeah, I think it's nice to win, but I think it's also way more confidence building when you beat a team that you fought hard to win.
You know, you and I have sat in this room, probably in these very same chairs, a few other times in our lives when it was you in one of those other different roles. So it's pretty cool for me, too, to be able to sit here next to you and spend 15 minutes talking to you now about running this program. And I think all Bulls fans probably feel to some way the same way, like I saw her play as a youngster, saw her get better, saw her as a coach, saw her do great things. To have you come back is pretty darn cool. Congratulations. And we're all excited about you getting the opportunity to do something that is incredibly special.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
She is Kristen Sharkey. She is the UB women's basketball head coach. She is off and running, getting ready for year number 1. We thank you for joining us on this edition of the In the Bullseye Podcast.